Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Your Excellency, Mr. Khwaja Imran Nazir, distinguished scholars, respected Hakeems, esteemed clinicians, scientists, policymakers, and honored guests. We gather today at a pivotal moment in human history, not merely a medical transition, but a civilizational turning point. For decades, global healthcare has advanced technologically at breathtaking speed. Yet, paradoxically, humanity is becoming sicker psychologically, biologically, socially, economically, and even politically. We face rising chronic disease despite advanced medicine, escalating mental illness despite increased pharmacology, biological burnout at younger ages, social fragmentation and loneliness, economic strain from unsustainable healthcare system. This paradox has forced the world to confront a difficult truth. Medicine has advanced, but the human being has been forgotten. For what is life without being healthy, happy, successful, and opulent? Today, global institutions, including the World Health Organization, have formally acknowledged this failure and declared a new direction. Health must be holistic, integrative, biopsychosocial, and spiritual. With that declaration, something extraordinary has happened. World Health Organization has effectively positioned traditional, natural, and holistic practitioners, including Islamic physicians, as the doctors of tomorrow. Not because we are new, but because we never abandoned the whole human being. Allow me to share with you on the collapse of the liberal materialist paradigm. For over a century, medicine was shaped by a liberal materialist worldview, one that reduced reality to what could be measured, dissected, and controlled. Now, this worldview amazingly has produced technological brilliance, but also systemic failure. We are facing now psychological consequences. Anxiety and depression have reached epidemic levels. In Malaysia, this stress, anxiety, and depression or mental health is the second largest disease. Suicide is now among the leading causes of death in young adults all over the world. Trauma-related disorders are increasing across all societies. And with this psychological consequence comes the biological consequences. The body reacts with chronic inflammation, which underlies most non-communicable diseases. Autoimmune conditions are accelerating. Metabolic disease is appearing earlier in life. Social consequences. So when the biology breaks down, we all face social consequences. Loneliness has been declared a global health crisis. Family and community structures are weakening. Then, as the social consequence is faced, we also face economic and political consequences, as we can witness all around the world today. Healthcare costs are unsustainable. Medication dependency is escalating. Societies are increasingly polarized and unstable. The root problem is not lack of technology. It is the removal of the soul from medicine. Now, let us take a look at science and how it is now confirming ancient wisdom. Over the last 2 decades, science has begun confirming with data and imaging what Islamic medicine articulated a millennium ago. In psychoneuroimmunology, emotions regulate immune cells, inflammatory markers, and healing capacity. Islamic medicine has always recognized emotional states as the pathogenic and therapeutic forces. In the study of epigenetics, they have now proven that lifestyle, nutrition, trauma, environment, belief, and stress switches the genes on and off. This is the modern scientific explanation of mizaj or temperament and the constitutional individuality. In the study of neuroplasticity, spiritual practices reshape neural circuits, hormone regulation, and autonomic balance. Our scholars, our traditional scholars, have always thought that the heart disciplines the mind. In the study of the modern gut-brain immune axis, it is said that the digestive health governs immunity and mental health. And this is clearly the fundamental of the teachings within Ibn Sina medicine. In the study of inflammation science, we now know that chronic heat, oxidative stress, and dysregulation mirror Unani concepts of humoral imbalance. Once again, science is not replacing tradition. Science is validating it. And this is why the World Health Organization has now made a global shift. The World Health Organization now explicitly calls for person-centered care, integration of traditional medicine, preventive and lifestyle-based systems, recognition of mental, social, and spiritual determinants of health. These are all not symbolic. It is policy defining. It signals the end of medical arrogance and the return of medical humility. The old, the natural, the holistic, the humane has become the new. In clinical reality, 10 years of lived evidence has proven so many facts. Allow me now to move from theory to clinical reality. Over a span of 10 years, for example, Ibn Sina Wellness, established in Malaysia, has treated more than 3,000 chronic illness patients, many of whom were labeled incurable. In cancer care, we have treated various cancers using holistic, natural, regenerative approaches. We have documented cancer reversals, not merely cancer control, but cancer reversals. We have observed the healing process that takes place from the natural source of the body. We have observed stem cell mediated tissue regeneration, including a colon cancer patient whose colon returned to a state of comparable to that of a healthy 20-year-old within a mere 18 months treatment. This has been confirmed through the colonoscopy, and it has astonished medical specialists in Malaysia. One current cancer patient has publicly appeared on national television with me, explaining his decision to refuse surgery and chemotherapy to pursue natural treatment with us. Over time, we witnessed the tumor collapsing as toxic burden reduced, inflammation subsided, immunity strengthened, and now the cancer size has begun to shrink. These are amazing, ladies and gentlemen. These are evidence that has never been achieved by the modern medicine. In cardiovascular disease, patients were saved from open heart surgery, and patients who have already undergone surgical open heart surgery, as a post-surgical recovery, they came to us and were significantly accelerated. In several cases, cardiologists discontinued long-term blood thinning medication due to the stabilized parameters achieved. In renal and urinary conditions, we had one patient who came to us. She was diagnosed with a urinary tract leakage, urethral leak, and she was advised to surgically remove one kidney. Through our holistic and regenerative protocol, we were able to save her kidney from being removed. What we have observed is the reversal of kidney failure, restoration of renal function, activation of endogenous regenerative processes, sealing of the urinary tract leakage through newly regenerated health tissue, which means that the stem cells started to work again. She became so strong that now, if you can see through the picture, she can even lift the palm oil and even a goat. Follow-up imaging revealed that the leakage could no longer be identified and physicians were unable to locate the original defect. This was not just a mechanical repair, ladies and gentlemen. It was a natural biological regeneration. And this is what we can produce through Islamic medicine. In autoimmune, infectious, and genetic conditions, we have witnessed full clinical recovery in autoimmune diseases, hepatitis, HIV, and genetically inherited conditions such as thalassemia. These outcomes arise from immune recalibration, inflammation reduction, epigenetic modulation, restoration of physiological intelligence, alignment of the body, the psychology, and the soul. Isn't that amazing? Now, allow me to express to you the knowledge production and scientific contribution that Ibn Sina Wellness has made over the last 10 years. Because clinical success alone is not enough. We are meeting with the modern clinical era. That is why over the last decade, in Ibn Sina Wellness, we have authored nearly 100 books documenting outcomes. Each includes scientific references and footnotes. We have published in academic journals various articles to prove our clinical trials. And now we even operate our own journals. We have established our own journals, Fitness, Performances and Health Journal, and another one is Ibn Sina Journal of Integrative Medicine and Wellness. We welcome all of you to also participate in our journals. And inshallah, in 2026, we will host our first international conference. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how a civilization re-enters the world with confidence, documentation, and humility. Distinguished colleagues, healers, and guardians of an ancient legacy, what is happening today is not merely the revival of a medical system. It is the restoration of dignity, of our dignity as Muslims in Islamic medicine. For too long, many of us were made to feel peripheral, as if our knowledge required permission, as if our heritage needed validation. Alhamdulillah, now that era is over. So let's hold our heads up high, because today, with clarity and confidence, we can say that we are the doctors of tomorrow. But, ladies and gentlemen, this future cannot be built in isolation. We must no longer work in silos, separated by institutions, egos, and borders. This moment calls us to be bigger than our individual selves, bigger than our establishments. If we remain divided, we will remain small. If we unite globally, we become a global force, a force rooted in science and evidence, spirituality and ethics, compassion and human dignity, tradition refined by research. The world today is exhausted, fragmented, and searching for healing. The world is searching for us. They are waiting for us to stand together, to speak with one voice, and to remind humanity of its forgotten greatness. So, I end with this truth. The world may call it integrative medicine. The world may call it holistic medicine. The world may call it biopsychosocial spiritual model of medicine. But for us, it has always been the wisdom of our ancestors, alive, relevant, and ready to guide the next era of healing. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bangkitkan nikmat hidupmu.